Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Teachers say no to pay package. Delegates of the Jamaica Teachers Association JTA on Friday rejected government's compensation package at a special conference of the association at the Wolmer's Boys School in Kingston. A JTA release said 585 delegates voted, with 560 voting to reject the offer, 24 voting to accept, while one ballot was rejected. In light of the overwhelming rejection, the JTA said it will be writing to the Ministry of Finance outlining the outcome of the meeting and seeking an improved offer and a request to return to the bargaining table at the soonest possible time. The conference was called following a week of consultation with JTA members island-wide. President of the JTA, Lysandra Harrison, in an interview to reporters earlier this week, that there were several challenges faced by the association during the negotiations. There are things we're certainly continue to have negotiation and talks with the government about, if it is that we are serious about retention of experienced and qualified teachers. If we are serious about the substance of an education system driven by Jamaican educators, then our government really needs to rethink and come again, Harrison said. Alleged robber identified using finger left behind at crime scene. The Hunts Bay Police in St. Andrew have listed a man as wanted based on a fingerprint left at the scene of a robbery. He is Herbert Wallace, otherwise called Ricky, of a Riverton City address in Kingston 11. The police allege that he robbed a business establishment on Colville Avenue in Kingston 20 on November 28, 2022. They say Wallace was in the process of robbing the business when he accidentally shot off his finger after allegedly taking a sum of money from the proprietor. He reportedly bolted from the scene, leaving the finger behind. Detectives from the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigations Branch submitted the finger to the lab, where it was run through the fingerprint database and a match was reportedly made to Wallace. The Hunts Bay Police are asking anyone with information on the whereabouts of Herbert Wallace to contact them at 876-923-7111 or Crime Stop at 311. They noted that Wallace now has a missing index finger. Spur Tree Hill crossing cleared. Following a gridlock of over 3 hours after a 3-vehicle crash on Friday evening, the flow of traffic is improving on Spur Tree Main Road. A police source told reporters that the crash happened about 5 p.m. close to the popular corn vending area. The crash involved 2 motor cars and a delivery truck. The delivery truck, which is owned by a baking company, overturned. The occupants of the vehicles reported were not seriously injured. Motorists told reporters that the pileup became a gridlock when scores of unruly drivers overtook lines of traffic, impeding the flow of traffic in opposite direction. Record crews and workers from the local baking company were assisted by the police and firefighters to clear the accident scene. The accident-prone Spur Tree Hill Main Road links Mandeville and its environs to St. Elizabeth and Points West. Earlier, some motorists opted to travel through Plowden in South Manchester and the Belline Road to bypass the congestion on Spur Tree Hill. Prime Minister Andrew Holness addressed concerns with the new Road Traffic Act.
The current situation with the provision for enforcement of a child restraint system in public passenger transportation in itself needs further review. And we have spent the last hour and a half in Cabinet going through it, and it is a very deep issue. We have decided, in support of the position adopted by the police, and already explained that they will apply greater discretion in the enforcement of the rule. We have decided that we will make some amendments to the law, and we will do so as quickly as possible. It may come in the form of amendments to the regulations, which can be done very quickly by a ministerial direction, which may not necessarily need to go to Parliament, or if it does, as soon as possible in Parliament. But I think that there has to be even further discussion around safety in public transportation. And that will need a much wider debate and possibly amendment to the law itself, not just the regulation, but to the act itself, which may come in a month or 2 or so, depending on how fast we can move with consultations and further deliberations on the matter. The Cabinet, in its retreat, took some time off to deliberate on the matter of a child restraint system being now enforced under the new Road Traffic Act. And the public concerns that have been raised. First, I want to say that your government pays attention to what you say as the public, and your views inform our action. And all governments try to be, or should try to be, in sync with the perspectives that are expressed by its citizens and try to balance them, even when the perspectives often differ. Having said that, I would also want to express the government's not just concern, but sympathy for those persons who have been inconvenienced in any way by the implementation, the enforcement of the requirements under the new legislation. We gather that there have been some public transport operators who have said that they are unwilling to carry children. And that gives us a point of entry into the conversation. The objective of the clause, the provision in the law, was specifically to provide for the safety of our children. And as a country, I think all Jamaicans agree that the law should have in it elements that provide for the safety of our children. So I don't think that there is any disagreement there. And anyone who would disagree with that would be totally unreasonable. The question is, does the implementation of this particular provision in the law itself add to the unsafe environment for children? And for the government, and I'm certain for parents and for the reasonable Jamaicans looking on, what we wouldn't want to happen is for our children to be in an unsafe position because they cannot get access to public transportation. And so the government has to consider this very carefully. The police have considered it very carefully as well, as there might be other issues of enforcement that they encounter. And I take note as well that the police commissioner has issued a statement which essentially is saying that the police will exercise a certain level of discretion on this matter and will police it as it was under the old act. I gather that was the essence of the statement. The provision is not new. I will leave it up to Minister Green and Minister Shaw to bring to the public's attention that this matter has been in our laws, the matter of a seatbelt and restraint, since the early 2000s. I gather even as far back as 1999. And this would have come as a result of deliberations coming out of the National Road Safety Council and Jamaica's obligations under certain UN agreements regarding road safety. And it was then piloted in Parliament by the now opposition, who is now seeking to distance themselves from the provision, which we expected no better of them. But it is our role, our duty, to explain to the public that this provision has long been a position that has been supported across administrations and across governments, that there ought to be in our Road Safety Act specific legislation, specific provisions for the safety of children. So it has been in the law since 2001, I gather, maybe even before. Then it made it into the 2014 iteration. Then it made it into the 2015, 2017, and now 2018 iteration of the Road Traffic Act. So it is a provision that has had bipartisan support and advocacy in terms of it being in the law. What is different, and which is what the public is experiencing now, finally, and people might believe that the government is shaken by this, we are happy that finally the public is at a position where they see their government enforcing its law. Consider, it was in the law from 1999, but nobody cared about it. It was never an issue of concern. Why? Because previous administrations have passed a law that they had no intention of enforcing. It has changed now. People now see that we are serious about public order. Public order is a convenience for all, but it will inconvenience some. And the government has to manage this process to make sure that the ultimate objective of public order is achieved. And that ultimate objective is that every Jamaican can feel safe in maneuvering a public space.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,